London, 1720. To survive the speckled monster, you must swallow its filth. The doctor scrapes the rotting flesh of a dying man. He grinds the scabs into a fine gray powder. A silver tube enters a healthy child's nostril. One sharp breath forces the infected dust into the lungs. They called it variolation, a desperate heresy born of blind arrogance. But the line between immunity and execution was razor thin. The air inside the chamber grows heavy with cadaverous particles. Within days, the fever strikes. The body becomes a battleground. For some, the powder grants a brutal protection. For others, it triggers the very apocalypse they tried to escape. A single mistake unchains the invisible weapon inside the city walls. The price of immortality required a tribute paid in raw agony, and the toll was rising. Europe was a graveyard of pockmarked faces and empty cradles. Smallpox claimed 40 million souls in a single century. The miasma spared neither kings nor peasants. Science stood paralyzed in the shadows, armed only with contaminated needles and prayers. Humanity was losing the war against a shadow, until a country doctor turned his gaze away from human anatomy toward the filth of the stables. Gloucestershire, 1796. Edward Jenner observes the milkmaids. Their skin remains flawless, untouched by the devastating plague. They carry a different scar, a milder infection contracted from the udders of beasts. Cowpox, a gentle cousin of the executioner. Jenner's mind twists with a radical, dangerous thought. To conquer the ultimate human terror, he must harvest the liquid rot of an animal. The scalpel tears the blister of Sarah Nelms. Jenner collects the warm golden pus on the tip of his blade. He does not seek a cure. He seeks a controlled infection. A young boy waits in the dimly lit study, completely unaware that his blood is about to host a medical heresy. The experiment was ready. If Jenner was wrong, he would be remembered as a child murderer. The child's name is James Phipps. He's 8 years old. Jenner cuts into the boy's innocent flesh with a cold, unyielding precision. He rubs the animal pus directly into the open wounds. The liquid rot of the beast enters the human bloodstream. This is the birth of the vaccine, derived from the Latin vacca. But in 1796, it looked like sheer madness. Jenner was playing God with the fluid of a cow. Days dissolve into agonizing uncertainty. The boy develops a mild fever. A few scabs form on his arm, then fade into harmless scars. The animal infection has claimed its territory without claiming a life. But the true horror of the experiment was yet to come. To prove his heresy worked, Jenner had to push his subject into the jaws of the real monster. He had to unleash the invisible weapon. Months later, Jenner returns with the deadlier venom. He collects fresh, lethal matter from a patient dying of true smallpox. The air in the room is thick with cadaverous particles. Jenner prepares the blade once more. This is no longer a test. It is a brush with execution. If the boy's body fails to resist the poison, Jenner's blind arrogance will seal both their fates in the shadows. He inoculates the child with the deadly smallpox. 1 day, 5 days, 2 weeks, the monster fails to wake. The boy's blood completely ignores the infection. The beast's armor had protected the human skin. Jenner had unlocked the secret to the price of immortality. He had weaponized nature against itself. Yet, the medical elite did not celebrate. They prepared their pitchforks for the heretic. The Royal Society recoils in disgust. To mix the essence of a beast with the blood of man was an abomination to God. Satirists draw caricatures of vaccinated people growing horns and cow heads. They called it a biological sin. Jenner stood alone against a wall of blind arrogance. But while the critics bled and died in the London fog, the heretic's truth began to spread like wildfire. The year is 1803. King Charles IV of Spain looks at his court, haunted by the ghost of his own daughter, stolen by the speckled monster. He commands an impossible crusade to carry the vaccine across the Atlantic. But the liquid rot cannot survive a long sea voyage. It spoils in weeks. To cross the ocean, the Empire required a living vessel, a biological chain forged in human flesh and suffering. The solution was a horrific masterpiece of logistics. 22 orphaned children became the living refrigerators of the Empire. 2 by 2, the doctors infected the boys with cowpox. As the blisters ripened, they scraped the golden pus and sliced it into the arms of the next pair. A relay race of living tissue through Atlantic storms. The price of immortality was paid with the stolen childhood of orphans. The Barmis expedition was a macabre success. The living chain held. The vaccine reached Mexico, the Philippines, and China. Millions received the fluid of the beast, and the invisible weapon began to lose its edge. For the first time in human history, anatomy fought back against destiny. Yet, beneath the triumph, the shadows remained. The world was changing, but the monster refused to die without a final stand. Decades bled into centuries. The lancet evolved into a bifurcated needle. By 1980, the World Health Organization declared the monster dead, eradicated. Smallpox was wiped from the face of the earth. But humanity's blind arrogance is a recurring virus. The weapon did not vanish. It was merely locked away in high-security vaults in the United States and Russia, frozen in time, waiting in the dark. Today, these strains are the ultimate ghosts in the machine. A single E could ignite an apocalypse in a population with zero immunity. The scabs of 1720 have become the bioweapons of the modern age. We believe we conquered the plague, but we only built a stronger cage for the beast. The ledger remains open, and the true cost of our immortality is that we can never, ever blink. The memory of the pain has faded. Today, the world has forgotten the smell of burning scabs and the sight of a melting face. Generational amnesia has set in. Because the vaccine was too successful, we grew soft in our safety. The blind arrogance of the modern age believes that our technology makes us untouchable. But the blueprint of the monster is no longer just in frozen vaults. It is now written in code. In 2017, Canadian researchers proved a terrifying truth. They resurrected a tinct cousin of smallpox using mail-order DNA fragments. No cadaverous particles required. No digging in old graveyards. Just a laptop, a credit card, and an internet connection. The heresy of Jenner has been inverted. Science no longer needs to harvest the beast from nature. We can now compile it from the shadows of the web. Consider the vulnerability of our anatomy. No one under the age of 50 has routine immunity to smallpox. Our cities are denser, our airports more crowded than ever before. If the invisible weapon is released today, it will not travel by wooden galleons or orphan boys. It will board a commercial flight. By the time the first pustule erupts, the miasma will have already shaken hands with the entire globe. For decades, dark rumors swirled around Biopreparat, the Soviet Union's shadow bioweapons program. Defectors whispered of tons of weaponized smallpox, engineered to fit inside the warheads of intercontinental missiles. The ultimate synergy of anatomy and obliteration. When the Empire collapsed, did every gram of that liquid death stay secure? Or did some of it slip into the black market's waiting hands? We live in a fragile parenthesis of history, between the eradication of the plague and the dawn of synthetic terror. The doctors of the past used the filth of cows and the scabs of the dead to buy us time. They paid a heavy price in blood and ethics, but that time is running out. The shadows are lengthening once more, and the invisible weapon is waiting for someone arrogant enough to turn the key. The modern laboratory is a sanctuary built on a graveyard. We look back at the ritual of variolation, at the doctors blowing ground scabs into the noses of children with a shudder of superior disgust. We mock their primitive cruelty, but our contemporary hubris is far more terrifying. They experimented with the limits of anatomy. We are rewriting the code of creation itself in the deep shadows of the digital age. Edward Jenner died knowing he had altered the destiny of human flesh. He gave us a shield forged from the fluids of beasts. He believed he had broken the spine of the speckled monster forever. But immortality is a debt that cannot be settled with a single payment. The invisible weapon was not destroyed. It was merely archived. It remains a cold passenger in our historical ledger waiting for the dark. From the filth of the cowpox blister to the sterile silence of a bioweapon vault, our survival has always depended on a terrifying paradox. To defend against the miasma, we had to invite it inside our veins. We had to embrace the heresy to escape the execution. Humanity conquered the greatest plague in history, not through pure virtue, but through a desperate, blind arrogance that happened to work. The air is still clear, the skin is still smooth. But beneath the surface of our quiet world, the cadaverous particles of the past are waiting for a single breath of fresh air. We have built a paradise on top of a powder keg, and the match is always lit. Sleep well tonight. The monster is contained, for now. But remember, the price of immortality must always be paid, in full. Thank you for traveling back to this dark era with us. What part of medical history shocked you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and share it with other history lovers. This was Morbid Medicine, and we will see you in our next Dark Archive.